Hello, everyone, and welcome back to BBB Racing. It's an exciting run tonight. It's our last qualifying event of the pre-season before we hit the main season next week, I believe. Don't shoot me if that's wrong. But
That
as
is
you can
wrong.
see, yep, that's fine. As you can see, we've jazzed up the stream. Stream's looking way better. Hopefully the drivers are going to match that performance. You know, we're all stepping up here. With me, you might have heard him a minute ago, my boss, just telling me that I'm giving people the wrong information. Liam, how's it going?
I'm all good, thank you. Yes, so just to correct that piece of information, we're off next week just to give a little week's break, and then we're starting the full season. We're going fully underway on the 7th of August. And yeah, we're having our 22 race season then. And welcome everyone. You heard me last week and you heard Will on the first week. So finally we actually get to co-commentate, which is what we've been speaking about for a while. But yeah, here we are.
I mean, it's been exciting. It's been we haven't really had to got across the combination of our experience. You, obviously, the founder of the league, last year's world champion. You know, coming in really strong, down to the wire. And then Rosberging your way out, and then me, of course, your friends, and I sometimes finish races. And
You do hold the record for most DNFs over.
yeah, I hold one record in the league, and it's the one for not finishing. But so we thought, you know, with your knowledge and my knowledge of what it's like to watch races after I've DNF'd, this is going to be a great time.
Exactly.
In all seriousness, last season was incredible racing from everyone, and towards the end of it, it just got so exciting. Really came down to the wire, and I think that's one of the reasons that we wanted to do this, is to show that actually what we've cultivated here is a really serious little racing league with some great drivers. And so,
Sorry, I just wanted to jump in there. That 100%. It started off through lockdown 2020. We were only speaking to a few of the other drivers the other day who were still driving today. How we were kind of bored one evening. We wanted to have a regular racing night, and we chose a Sunday night at 8 p.m. To all race together during lockdown. And I think we started out with must have been like 11 drivers. They were all just friends with each other, and we've kind of grown it season. We're now going into our third season, and now we had over 40 applications for the season. Obviously, as you know, there's only 20 spots available, and that's basically what these qualifiers are, to decide 20 drivers for season 3.
Yeah, and we've had some interesting first two sessions. I obviously, unfortunately, missed the last one, but I did see some spins, some crashes, some slightly questionable driving in that first race. So I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious to see how the adjudication team are going to kind of decide who's going to make it through. And just for tonight, we have qualifying now, just a single session that will lead us into a sprint race, and then that sprint race will set the grid for our main feature race. So plenty of racing up ahead, and I think our first laps are now about to be getting underway in quali. And I think I'd love to do a little rundown of the drivers with you, Lim.
Yeah.
I think you know these guys. These are the people that you've kind of cultivated through the years. At this point, it actually is the years, which is crazy to say. So yeah, I think first of all I think we should start at the top. We should start with the number 11 car at the moment, Alex Stopp, who's just in the fastest lap so far.
Yes, just quickly. So we've gone through to qualifying now, and as you know, the fastest times will go on to the sprint qualifying. But yeah, starting with Alex. Alex was actually a original member of BBBR. He was here from the start. I believe, this is really racking my brains, I believe he finished third or fourth in the first ever race in Bahrain. I believe it was like a 4-horse race for that victory. And he won the first season, and he has been racing ever since. And I think he was literally 1 point behind me last season, and that's over 23 races I think the season was. And yeah, 1 point splitters in that whole amount of time racing, which was pretty stellar.
Yeah, it's been super fun. I mean, it's kind of a bit of a situation now where, well, before these first few qualifiers, I think everyone was expecting Alex to just kind of come in and walk this season potentially, just because it was the two of you that really had the main battle for that. But these first few races in the qualifiers have already shown us that that's just not going to be the case, is it? We've seen people like Harrison come through like really, really rapid. It seems like everyone's getting used to the new game a little bit. I haven't actually seen Alex race yet. I don't know if you've followed any of his.
Yeah. So, funnily enough, he actually won the second qualifier.
Okay.
He was. I mean, there was some questionable driving at the end, and that would be reviewed and probably penalised come the season because he did shove his teammate Bakes off the track. However, with that said, he did come in with zero practice and kind of showed everyone else how it was done. Some really class driving. Also some other standout performances from other original members. Jesse for one Moon, who's with us, who had an awful qualifying session. I believe he started at the back of the grid and then somehow was just pulling out moves left, right and centre and got himself up into like 4th or 5th before having a safety car issue.
Yeah, I am excited to see just if anyone else comes through that maybe gets used to this a little bit more quickly than other people. Because I think for me, my experience playing the game seems to be just keeping on the road is a little bit more difficult this season than last season, which kind of leads me nicely onto my ex-teammate Logan Watt, who I'm praying for a good performance from Logan Watt today, please. Apparently he did amazing when I wasn't here. He got the top position in the sprint race, and then managed to get second place in the feature. So obviously he's put his pace in. He's shown that he can win races, but we all know he's a little bit slidey and a little bit aggressive. So I'm happy to see him come 5th. Happy to see him like trundling around at the back if there's no spins and no crashes. That's what I'm after tonight from Logan. But competitive times so far at the top of the board with Tadpole, who's one of our new contestants coming in with a stellar time there.
Yeah, we've got the top 5, I believe, within 3/10 at the moment. A huge favourite in terms of pace is Geraghty. He showed like unbelievable pace last season. It's kind of weird how he wasn't closer to me and Alex in the championship. I think it was ironing out those kinks and that consistency which held him back. But yeah, his pace has been phenomenal, and hopefully we'll see a little bit more of that this season as well. But he's currently sat in 5th for this qualifier.
Yeah, I think definitely the old guns there, that Alex, Logan, and Geraghty, and obviously Thomas Hunter, which feels weird looking at it like that. Our boy Hegel, who was another late joiner last year, but really quick driver. So no surprises at the top for me at the moment. Maybe Harrison, would like to see him move up a little bit, but obviously still 10 minutes to go, and this is only the qualifying for the sprint, so plenty to be had.
And talking as well about, you say no surprises, but only no surprises because of what the performance we saw from the first race, which is Tadpole, because he is totally new for this season. He's not raced last season at all, and he's totally new for this. And he showed incredible pace, incredible promise in that first race, delivered on great pace. I think he finished 4th, and he's currently stuck on pole position at the moment.
Yeah, I think I want to see. I noticed that we've got Venus down there in 11th. I've got big hopes for him this season. He's my undercard. He's my underdog. I think he's going to do super well, and I want to see. I think he's going to be up behind Brian at the end of this qualifying. That's my little prediction for the moment. Sorry, Brian, Bryan, not Brian 2K. I will be doing that throughout the whole course of the season.
Yes, we've got. Have we got any more duplicate names that we might need to be extra clear about? We've got Brian 2K and Brian. I think we'll explicitly label them as those two when we talk about them.
Pinoy's not getting. Is it Pengoy or Pinoy? This is what pre-season is about. We need to iron this stuff out. We need to just.
What are people's names?
What is your name, sir? Tell me. No, Pinoy. I don't want to call him Pinoy, but it kind of Pengoy.
Pengoy, yes. I mean, his real name is Matt.
That's not what I see on the screen, so I won't be saying Matt. I was very clear with the drivers. We had a little fisticuffs beforehand. I was like, whatever you put on the name, Anchorman style, I will read it. And I see Pengoy there, so that's what I'm calling him. I don't know, Quivlex, this at the bottom, that's not someone I'm familiar with.
So yeah, he's also a new joiner. He had his debut in the second qualifier. And everything we saw on track from the broadcast view was really good. Some great promising new racing. So it'll be great to see how he does in this third qualifier as well. See if he makes a seat for the third season.
Yeah, I'm curious at the moment. Like, I mean, I almost don't want to ask this, and feel free to not divulge this information. But like, it must be a tricky job to figure out who is going to get those seats now that we have so many people applying. That must be a tough one.
It is hard, and that's kind of why we've tried to create a process this year of essentially proving it right. And there's absolutely, we don't want to create like elitist thing either. Like, we don't want like, oh, only the fastest people are allowed, only time trial scores are allowed, because essentially that's not what this is about. Like, everything that we did when we were racing before, it was all about clean racing. We wanted to have the most, it doesn't matter whether you're the slowest on track or the fastest, right? Like, if you're the fastest person overtaking the slowest, we wanted to be at 100% guaranteed clean. So when we're doing these qualifiers, we're not really testing. Pace is one of them. I believe there's, you can be too dangerous to drive at some point, so if you're too slow. But we wanted people who are slower to also feel comfortable and also feel that they can drive with the faster people. So yeah, it's about basically making sure that you can drive on track, you're not a liability to other people. And those top 20 who are like the most bankable 20 that can all race on track with each other, they're the ones that are going to be making the cut.
Yeah, it's good to hear. I think a lot of people, when it comes to league racing, they just assume I'm not going to be quick enough, I won't get to do it. And I was one of those people as well. I thought I'm not going to have the pace to kind of match these guys, so there's no point doing it. But that's kind of not really what this league is about, which is always nice to see.
No, absolutely, and it's not just like the racing league racing on a Sunday either. Like, we've got our Discord server, and it's an incredible like racing community where we will commentate on the actual real life Formula One as well as the racing on a Sunday evening for ourselves. And you kind of find that you make friends wherever you are throughout the field, and they will all talk about their battles, whether it's battling for 15th, whether it's battling for 10th, whether it's battling for first. Like, we'll always have like a debrief between all the drivers afterwards in the Discord, talking about how their race went, which is brilliant. Like, that is the kind of community we want to create.
Yeah, it's good fun. Just focusing in a little bit more on the quali now. Looking at those top 3 times, that is pretty nip and tuck between Tadpole, Logan, and Thomas, all in the 24.1s. Tadpole just edging it by 6 hundredths, which is not really very much to be edging that by, but some serious pace going on here. Just wondering if we're seeing anyone quick. I'd love to try and like follow a lap with potentially Jinnit when he comes out onto his out lap, but we'll just keep an eye on that, because I think I don't know if anyone else can beat these top 4. A bit surprised that Alex seems to be a little bit further back. And actually I'm impressed with Logan being this high up and knowing that he hates Abu Dhabi. This is not his track at all.
He's always been one of those drivers where push comes to shove and sometimes pulls some extra tenths out the bag. And
it used to blow my mind when we'd be sitting in our little team chat before a race, and I just hear him just, this is never going to happen, this is going to be rubbish, can't do it, blah blah blah, and then he's just on pole by half a second, and it's quite demoralising as the number 2 driver to be like, that's him on a bad day. Come on, I got to step it up, I got to go.
And we've got a 4th driver in the 24.1s as well, with Brian. So we've got 4 constructors, 4 different drivers, all within a 10th of a second of each other. Yeah,
I think this is going to be a really spicy end to this little bit of qualifying. Just wondering if surely Jinnit can't be done. 24.6 seems like quite a way off these guys, and Alex as well.
The really interesting thing as well, talking about Jinnit was always the driver last season when the rules had changed. Do you remember when you'd start the race on the fastest tyres you qualified on? Well, that's no longer a thing anymore, right? So we kind of don't get that different strategy. He was always the fastest quite easily, so I don't know whether you just put on mediums for fun to have a different strategy, but yeah, we're now seeing all the qualifying times kind of neutralised to be these are going to be the fastest drivers that are in this qualifying session.
Yeah, so we've got a retirement there from Cal Brown. That's unfortunate. Hopefully that wasn't a crash. Well, hopefully that was a crash, to be honest, because otherwise leaving in frustration at this point in the race, probably not what we want to see. Yeah, I see that Thomas is now on an out lap, which might be nice. He's another one where it's kind of all or nothing when it comes to the the quali and to be honest, the ends of the race. He usually has a bit of a moment, but I'm not sure if this is his flying out. No, he's just warming the tyres up now. But yeah, I think Venus and Jake right next to each other. I think that's going to be the theme for the
boys
next
in blue,
as
they like to call themselves.
They are so close. It's not. I love to see that two teammates so closely matched in pace that they can just have it out every weekend and keep it friendly as well.
Yeah, it was a thing in both. It was a thing in Bahrain and Spain that they were both fighting over the same piece of tarmac. So yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter what track they're at; they're always at the same pace.
So here we go then. This is
Talk us through the lap, Will.
Sorry?
Talk us through the lap.
Well, yeah, you've thrown that on me. We'll see. Come around this twisty section. It's quite tricky to. Yeah, he's nice keeping it in there. I think this new section now. I thought it would be easier to drive, but this sweeping corner, I think you've really got to find that apex. You've got to kind of hang it out quite wide, and obviously the exit's so important. As we see another retirement, probably another crash. He's not going to get any slipstream coming down here. Can't see his delta at the moment to see if this is going to be an improvement or not. But looking all tidy so far. How's he going to do on this section? Yeah, looking pretty clean. Ooh, yeah, he could have probably used a bit more curbs there, but obviously curbs this year, a bit scary. You don't really want to touch them. But again, looking nice at the moment. What does he actually need to find? He needs to find about a 10th. Essentially, to get this on pole. As again, another sweeping apex. How wide is he going to go? No, he's backed off. Yeah, he's backed off.
Up the tyres. I hope he's got enough fuel on for another run. We have got almost just over a minute, so he won't be able to come into the pits and change those tyres. This next lap that he's going to go on will be his final lap. But yeah, we've got 3 drivers out currently for their final lap. So who do you want to ride on board with?
Oh, 3 drivers out for their final lap. I think if we go with Logan, it's going to be a spin. I think let's see a spin from Logan Watt. Let's see how he is. Oh, this does not look like a great place to be as you come out on your final lap. I mean, so is this his warm up now, or is this actually his lap?
Well, that is the other. That is Alex that's currently on his lap, right?
Oh,
that is the other Aston Martin. I believe they're teammates. These are not final team positions, by the way, going into the season. Okay. It's a first come first serve basis when you're ready.
Does look like he's getting a bit of a tow from Alex. He's actually going to back out. No. So no team orders here, I guess. I mean, this is.
Oh, and both of them have spun.
Oh, both the Aston Martins, absolutely in tandem together. If that was team orders, it was definitely not the right team orders, but they executed it absolutely perfectly there.
We've seen synchronized swimming, and now we've seen synchronized spinning as well.
Exactly. I mean, I told you. I did say if we ride on board with Logan, we'll be in for a spin. And there it was, following Alex's line a little bit too closely there. So as we're coming onto the final lap now, it does look like Tadpole. I mean, it's just hard to tell. Obviously, Logan's not going to be able to have a punt at him now. Thomas Hunter, he's going to be coming on round into this final section. Oh, not the final section.
And I was watching him in practice. He had a beautiful line through this final sector, keeping it really tight and neat and tidy.
Gorgeous. Oh, if he's kept that in, which I think he has, that looks absolutely.
Oh, that might be just on the line.
Oh, go on, what can he do?
Let's see what this time's going to be. It's not good enough. He stays third.
Tadpole staying up. Brian, potentially. Can Brian improve?
Also.
Oh, there we go. I mean, that's just how hard these guys are having to push at the moment to get close to these guys. It's just too tricky. But Tadpole, again, coming out really strong. His quarter. Actually getting a really nice lap there to put him up into 5th. Harrison from moving up into 7th.
Tadpole is currently on a lap. Coming into the final sector, let's see if he had the kind of lines that Thomas Hunter had.
Doesn't need to improve, but it'd be interesting to see. A little bit wider that looked like to me, but still nice and tight. Ooh, God, that was on the limit if that wasn't a track warning. Not using as much as a curb there though. Going to swing this one through. Does he improve? Doesn't need to. 24-1. No, staying at 24-1. So Tadpole from Logan to Thomas is your top 3 heading into the sprint race. But absolutely nothing between them going through there. This could be quite an interesting race. Could be a little bit messy. Logan, the 2 Scotsmen in 2nd and 3rd. Brian up in 4th. Quarter, great performance from him up into 5th. Alex Stock wants to be higher than that, as does Harrison. Potentially Moon, I think he's going to be happy with that, but Jinnit in P9 not going to have a lot of opportunities, a lot of time to gather up as far as the grid as he needs to. And then we see the likes of Brian, Jake and Venus below there with Rob Arnold up into 14th. Spicy race, I think, ahead of us. Who's your money on?
I think my money is on. I don't know. I can't call it, to be honest with you. I can't. I have no idea. Everyone I think of, I've seen spin in practice at least once, so I have absolutely no idea. I think Alex, in terms of just being the most bankable driver on the grid, like he's going to put in a good result. He's got to be doing well. But remember, we've got sprint qualifying coming up, right? We're not going straight into the race. We're going to sprint qualifying.
We are going to go to our first. I'm going to call it a race. It is a race. I'm calling it a race, but it's a smaller race. It's a less important race.
It's a race of 10 laps, I believe, and then it's 20.
Is it only 10 laps?
I think it's 10 laps for this. Yes.
That is pretty. Yeah, that's a lot on the line for these guys. As we are gonna head in now, I believe. The cars are going to be lining up on the grid. You see the lights lighting up. Slowly, who's going to get off the line first? Lights are off, race is on. Let's see who's going to get a good start. Bit of a delay there for me. Looks like all over the place. Oh, no, looks like Brian having a big moment, smashing into several cars there. A few cars back. It does look like Logan has managed to get the best off the start at the moment. Tadpole battling with Hegel there. Hegel actually forced off the track. Going to try and hang around the inside. Is going to lose the place. That's Tadpole from Hegel. Quarter making a great start, as does Harrison up into P5. Alex staying in P6. Moon and Jinnit behind. But disaster there off the start from Brian, who sees himself right at the back of the grid as we see this pack move through these faster corners nice and clean now. I wonder if Hegel going to be able to get some sort of run down into the next corner from Tadpole. Tadpole just pulling out to the side at the moment. I think he's going to be safe for now. Hopefully we'll keep it clean, but absolute disaster there for Brian. I wonder what happened. I think just maybe giving it too much gas on the opening start, but we've seen this before. We've seen Logan in this position before. He's out in front, 1.1 second, head down, no crashing, as we see a first penalty that I've been witness to. A 3-second penalty is Hegel surely not going to make a move up the inside now, pushing him around. Outside becomes the inside though now for Tadpole. He's going to have the much better run through here. Surely he does make it through, but dangerous stuff, and I think this is going to be going right on for the next 10 laps.
Absolutely, and as we've seen time and time again in those lower speeds, the wheel spin is just so hard to handle. We saw Brian not even be able to handle it at the start of the corner, going in a straight line. And then some incredible driving there in between Tadpole and Thomas Hunter. How they did not come together, I have no idea. Absolutely stellar driving so far.
Yeah, and it's just going to be Logan obviously setting the fastest lap now. I'm just looking down the grid to see if there's anything, any other places gained or lost. Venus, Moon up into P7. Looks like Jake, a little bit of a nightmare there. But Tadpole, Logan already breaking the DRS in 2 laps, as he tends to do. So really it is going to be here between Hegel and Tadpole to see how long this battle is going to go on for. But I think both of them will be knowing that this could be for the win. Could very, very easily be for the win coming up. As I think Alex might be making a move on Quarter here. He's gaining up on him very, very quickly. When he dives down the inside, is he going to make that steer? He's going to be late on the brakes. It does look like Alex made it through. Couldn't quite see that. But I think they're still side by side coming through now. It looks like Quarter did manage to stay ahead there somehow, because Alex, I thought, had that signed, sealed and delivered. He was absolutely through. But actually, as we say that now, it's going to get a lot more speed running down here. Quarter is going to lose a position eventually. Harrison now trying to see what he can pick up on the scraps. He almost picked up a DNF there as he went a little bit wobbly, but manages to keep it on the road as we move through into the next section. So yeah, lots and lots of fighting going on through the grid. I think Harrison and Quarter will be the next one to keep an eye out for.
You're right, we did almost see AlphaTauri collected in the wall there, coming out of the new turn. I can't remember what corner it was. You remember the 3-point chicane? It's now turned into one long hairpin. Picking up the throttle out of there has become ever harder around that corner. But yeah, we've got a 3-way battle at the moment in the fight for 4th place. And I don't know if Logan's made a little mistake, but he's lost that 1-second gap coming out of the first sector and going down the long straight.
Retirement there from Pengoy. He's out of there. I wonder if anyone else is going to be going down with him. Brian at the bottom there. Yeah, this is not looking good, as we see a lot of weaving going on from the guys. Oh, it's a safety car. We got a safety car in the... Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't even know we could really get a safety car in the sprints. I mean, what's that going to do strategy-wise, I guess everyone's just gonna.
Well, we saw a huge mistake from Thomas Hunter last week. I don't know why. It's only a 10-lap race. They were all on mediums, and he chose to pit, and it just all went downhill from there. So hopefully we don't see any of that kind of fortune from anyone else this week. I can't imagine. Why would you pit? Why would you pit under a sprint qualifying unless you had damage? Because surely you're definitely making the end of the race.
Is everyone on the
sides.
mediums?
Everyone's on the mediums.
Right, so I guess maybe if I was at the back, I might pop the softs on. Just give it a go. Why not? See if it, I haven't seen the tyre wear around here, but maybe give that a go. But this is going to not be what Logan wants, I don't think. After I am assuming making a mistake, as you say, putting him.
Oh, it's a VSC.
DRS
is now enabled, and as we saw earlier, I think Thomas almost made the jump on a Red Bull, as we saw earlier that George Russell did.
Yeah, didn't quite get it. And we've got another yellow flag in sector 3, as I think Moon is dropping down the order. Oh no, he's had a nightmare as well. But Thomas and Tadpole half a second away from Logan now. Yeah, I think the trick, Tadpole won't know this, Hegel will. The trick with Logan is just keep that pressure up. Keep that pressure on, and he'll make more mistakes. But unfortunately, he is very, very rapid. He's a quick boy, is our Logan, but another quick boy.
DRS enabled, and we've got a Tadpole going around the outside into the hairpin, and I think he's going to make it stick.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, he's absolutely made that work beautifully now. But now watch out for Hegel. He's going to have a little bit more speed than these guys coming through. But it's going to be back and forth. I think Logan is going to be able to get enough of the slipstream to potentially throw one around the outside here. But actually backs off. Great defending there from Tadpole to position his car just beautifully. And now here comes Hegel, just sniffing away, not seeing anything too opportunistic just yet. But yeah, no. So Tadpole taking the lead from Logan there. Didn't look like a mistake. I think he just had the pace, and he was close enough due to Logan's earlier mistakes. So let's see if Tadpole can convert this into a win.
Absolutely. And what a beautiful helicopter cam shot as well we've got going on seeing this battle. But I don't know about you, Will, but I think that was the widest Red Bull I've ever seen.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that he couldn't get around him on the end of that main straight. After Tadpole had got through, I thought surely with the slipstream, Logan would be able to find a way around, but he just parked it perfectly on the apex and just made sure that there was absolutely nowhere that Logan could go without really risking something. And I think these sprint qualifiers and the kind of qualifiers that we're doing in general are really going to lean into drivers being a bit more cautious. Like, Logan does not need to make an incident right now. He cannot be affording to do anything too risky. And as we say that, he's going to be charging down 3/10. I think he might just be okay as we are watching Quarter looking for a move. Alex.
We see one battle with the Red Bull and Aston Martin, and literally less than 1 or 2 spaces behind we have the exact same thing. It's a bit like deja vu right now, and Aston Martin going to a Red Bull.
Onto Tadpole there. I think he's going to be making a move. I'd love to see if he's managed to make it stick. He's up around the inside. Tadpole swinging around the outside, or just holds on, moves over a little bit there. Is Logan going to dive up the inside? No, he's keeping it smart for the moment, but this feels like a time bomb to me. It feels like eventually either Hegel's going to get into this, and I don't think they're going to be able to survive this 3 wide, but right now they are 1, 2, 3, absolutely nothing between them at the moment, going
less than a second. Less than a second between our top 3 drivers.
I wonder just what's going to give first. I think Hegel is, I think, in the best position here. He just needs to sit, watch this happen, just wait for that, dare I say, inevitable mistake from one of these guys. Just racing under this pressure is going to be so tricky. But for the moment, apart from Logan making a little mistake, everyone seems to be keeping it clean for the moment as we come through onto the main straight. Logan actually pulling out a big gap in that first sector. I think that might... Oh, sorry, Tadpole, my mistake. Tadpole pulling out a big gap in that sector. I think Logan's probably going to be too far back from this unless he does something very silly, which he decides not to do. But meanwhile, Alex diving up the inside. Is he going to make that one work? It does look like he's kept it for the moment, and then Quarter has snapped it back. And oh no, he has managed to keep it in front. The timing's going crazy here as this Red Bull Aston Martin they're just going at each other non-stop. And I think there's Harrison now getting involved in that fight as we've got fights for the lead. There's just so much action going on up and down the field.
I don't know where to look. For 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Oh, basically, the top 7 drivers are in a battle of some kind. We've currently got Alex in front of...
Oh no, Alex! Who's the first of the Aston Martins to make that mistake. And that is really going to cost him. He's going to drop right back down. And that is also going to release Quarter up into these battles. But that is not what you want to see from, you know, what nearly a world champion in the league. Oh, absolutely gutting for him. And now he's going to be right back in there. And now, look, is that Venus going around the outside? Brian... Oh, he's going to be going through. Obviously, those tyres now are going to be scorched. He's losing 2 places in that one corner. Jake Smalls, he thinks he's probably going to have a look as well coming into here. That is just the difficulty with these tyres. Once you spin them up, that's just really unfortunate. So,
as we jump back to the front with the battle between Logan and Tadpole. Sorry to cut you off. I just did not want to miss the moments that were going to happen right now, basically.
Yeah, I think Logan... looks like he got a great exit through there. He's going to be right on the back. Here we go. Once again, he's going to dive around to the inside. Now, we know that the inside becomes the outside later, so he needs to really get a good lead through here. And it does look like he's a bit further ahead coming through the apex. He's got the job done a little bit better here now. Now, needs to block off that inside, make sure that Tadpole doesn't get through, which he does manage to do. And that looks like he's got the move done for the moment. Heckel is just a little bit too far away to get anything done from these guys squabbling.
He's sitting there watching. One thing that's absolutely blowing my mind as well is they're not losing time in this battle. You know, I've often thought about a lot of on-track battles and the amount of time you lose fighting and tripping up over each other going into corners. But these guys are 2.5 seconds from the next best man in 4th place.
Well, of course, one of the reasons for that is that the other Red Bull and the other Aston Martin were battling just as hard as these guys and kind of keeping that cork in the bottle. So I think will be really interesting to see now over the next 2 laps if Quarter can make any sort of dent on these guys as they fight. But I do think Alex might have done enough in that fight to just give Logan and I guess Tadpole and Thomas the lead that they need. But we will watch that 2.5 seconds from Quarter, see if that does come down as you were predicting, because actually I think it will be a little bit easier for him now as no moves happening just yet. Jinner going for a big lunge there, but should be no problem as we come through.
We saw a great line up there from Tadpole, getting a really straight exit out of that chicane. It looks like he's got the traction to pull a move around the outside, maybe.
Yeah, I think if he can get a move done around the outside, that's where you want to do it, because then you're going to be right on the good position for the inside. Very late on the brakes there does Tadpole. This could really hamper Logan's line as well. But I think he has made it work. Hegel, he's only 10th behind now. I just want to... Hegel needs to follow one of these moves through. He's only got 2 laps to do it. Maybe I'm being too aggressive. I just think he's got the pace to get the win here, but he just needs to find that move. But Tadpole and Logan going back and forth, and I gotta say, as we consider this to be a qualifying race, a kind of race where, you know, we're judging racecraft, we're judging safety, we're judging all those kind of things, this has got to be big points for Logan and Tadpole here, battling this aggressively for this many laps.
Remember as well, talking about strategy, we've only got 10 laps, but how much battery do you think is in each reserve of each of these top three cars? If I was Higgle, I'd be using the DRS to catch up in the straights and holding some back, and then hopefully deploying on these last 2 laps to try and get as many positions as I can.
Yeah, we did see a bit of that last time, where no one had any battery at all, and it would have been obvious. It was obvious to us watching it that, you know, all it needed was someone to just use that slipstream, not deploy that battery, and they could have been in a really good position. So maybe Hegel's noticed that. If he has noticed that, I think he needs to get it done now, as you say, in these laps, rather than waiting for just that last lap. Needs to close this gap off. But Tadpole in a good position here, as I think Venus is dropping down. Oh, unfortunate for him. Hopefully he can get some sort of recovery in the next couple of laps. Probably a fight with his teammate, which we love to see. Have to check on them after the sprint. But right now, it's kind of all eyes at the front. The gap's tending to be pretty spaced out, apart from these top 3. I see Brian a couple of tenths behind, but I don't know. I think Logan's in probably the best spot to win this. Oh no! That's Quarter. He's crashed. That's a huge crash on the main straight. And that is absolute disaster for him. He's been doing so well. Those were big points. Well, no points, but you know what I mean. That's a big position to lose. Is that going to affect anything? I think we're good. It's just a sector 3, so I think we're still all good to race here. And Logan is going to need to be the one to get this done now, but it doesn't look like the best run we've seen coming up this straight. About half a second at the start of the straight is going to need to be a big move. Maybe he's waiting for the next part of the track to get it done. Not surely not the lunge.
Big lunge and a 3-second penalty.
Oh, gets the time. Yeah, as you say, gets the time penalty. Oh, that's a shame. I love to see it. You do love to see it from Racecraft, but clearly didn't make the corner. So now that is basically given Hegel P2 if he wants it. But is he going to try and go for that P1? Such a shame. Tadpole now can really ease off here, and this is going to be a fight between the orange and the blue for who can get the win. My money is on Tadpole at the moment, but this is definitely the closest we've ever seen Hegel on track. Logan obviously getting away now. It's now or never for Thomas. He's been waiting and waiting for a mistake to come through from these guys. Nothing has happened. Logan's made the mistake to get PT very, very wide there from Thomas, but I think it's going to be okay. Tadpole is going to get the net.
The wheels.
Oh, by such a tiny amount. But Tadpole with a pretty amazing victory there to hold off that defense for so long. And Thomas getting that PT. Logan, unfortunate, but at least he manages to keep that P3 just because of how far ahead they were. And then Harrison, a strong performance from Harrison to get that P4. That's kind of where he wants to sit. Jinnit and then Shay, which is great. Brian 2K up in P7. Alex managing to recover to P8, which is great. You know, that's nothing to be sniffed at, that recovery drive. Jake Smalls holding P9, last of the, if there were points to go to Josh. And then Brian, Quivex, Venus, Moon, Rob Arnold, Cal Brown, and Jacob Martin rounding off the finishers. But what a race at the front there between the three leaders. Absolutely astonishing stuff, and unfortunate for Logan, I think. But I like to see him go for that move.
Unbelievable driving. Unfortunate for Logan, but unfortunate for Quarter. He was P4 and dropped into that last sector and now starting at the back of the grid. Yeah, I mean, like you say, Logan starting P3, I think it was only a position in it. I think he'd also much rather have taken that 3-second penalty than careering straight into his rival Tadpole into that corner.
Yeah, I'm sure he would as well, but it does set us up for quite an interesting race here. I mean, surely they can't be going at it that much for the next 50% race here. That seems like that's going to be can only end in disaster if it is that intense for the whole time.
What are you expecting to see in this feature race?
I'm not expecting to see either Hegel or Logan in the positions that they finished there. I think with those, just how aggressive that battle was. Tadpole seems to have a really good head on his shoulders for that fighting. There was nothing really there that I saw that looked too aggressive. There were some big moves, but nothing that screamed like desperate. Whereas Logan, that one dive from Logan, you know, he wanted that win. So which you know, you do need that drive. But of the three of them, I do think it seemed like Tadpole had the cooler head. So I would expect him to just kind of, if he can get away, to just take the win of this race.
Okay, well, we're about to go back to the action on track now for the feature race. I'll hand you over to Will.
So here we go. We've seen it for 10 laps. How about 29? Let's double that and add some more as the lights go out. Slowly, the race is on, and is Tadpole going to be able to get ahead and stay ahead now? The main important thing is to just keep it in a straight line as he goes through. It looks like Harrison has made an absolutely phenomenal start up into P2, but he loses it, and he's going to crash and actually going to go right back to the back of the grid. What a shame there. That was an ambitious move into the first corner. Logan is still going to be the victor of that, coming out into P1 with over half a second on Tadpole, but we're right back at it. Tadpole going to be right alongside Harrison, or Hegel, I apologise, but Jinnit managing to make that through as well. So now Jinnit's in P3 as that corner is a lot wider, it seems like, this season, because I don't know how they all got through that cleanly. Tadpole has a lot of McLaren all around him right now, and this is just going to be music to Logan's ears as we see Jinnit. I think he's going to just stay ahead of Thomas there. So we've got another yellow flag in sector 2. I think that's Quiplex just dropping down the order there. But wow, what a start there. Heartbreak for Harrison, but I'd love to see another view of that because that seemed ambitious at the least. He must have got an absolutely phenomenal start to be going. I think he had the lead for a second there from P4 on the grid.
Absolutely. He went up to P2, I think, and then just got... There was like... You know, I just don't think 4 go into 1. I just don't think it can happen in that first corner. And we saw him be a little bit too ambitious, get on the inside, and I just don't think he was ever going to make it through that corner. But interestingly, Ginit, who started, I believe, 5th, is now up into 3rd. Seeing Tadpole and Thomas come together into that hairpin, and they just were too busy battling. Ginit was like, thank you very much, I'm going to come up your inside, and absolutely smashed through both of them.
I mean, it is a shame. I know actually we are start to see a few penalties coming out now. I think maybe the pressure coming out, lots of penalties coming out across the grid. Obviously running on strict track limits, all that sort of stuff. So you do have to be pretty careful on this. I'd love to see the tyre info if we can. I believe everyone that I can see is starting on the mediums. I'm just wondering if there are any kind of strategies that could happen, as we do see big move there coming out from Brian. I think he's going to be just getting ahead, as he knows he's actually... Yeah, Brian, two Brians going at it. Very useful, very helpful for me. Oh, thank you so much, Liam. So we can see that Brian is on the softs. So he's going to need to kind of make his way through this pack as quickly as he can. And hopefully get some sort of advantage later. I think I wouldn't have predicted a safety car in this race until I had seen that sprint. But for now, I think it's probably quite likely that we will see a safety car, considering we saw one in the sprint race. But nothing too unusual at the moment. Logan doing his usual, getting ahead in that first lap.
The unusual what we do see is, and I think the reason he had such a great start, is Harrison started on the soft tyres for that race. And so we have Brian as well, who is currently up into 7th.
It's such a shame that didn't work, because that's a great move from Harrison. I think we know what he's like with pace. He could have really stretched those out. Such a shame it didn't work. Would have loved to have seen how that kind of revolved at the end of the race. But as kind of gets settled in here, Shea up in P5 with the 2 Brians. Not the most usual 5, 6, 7, or not what I would predict anyway. So good to see that as well.
Who currently is out of position for you? Who would you expecting to do a lot better?
Well, obviously we've got, Harrison Porter. Obviously they've had incidents. That's much a shame. I think Moon might have had an incident as well there, because he does seem a little bit far back. I think I'd love to see if anything happened to Alex, because I think again a lot of chaos happened on the start there, and Alex is a quick driver. I feel like he should be up higher than that with all of that going on, but nevertheless he's just going to be settling in now. Really, he's got a couple of drivers in front of him who I think he probably feels like he could get on pace. As we see Brian, I think, actually getting a move done on Shea. He's going to hold it around the inside. Can he keep it? He does manage to sweep on through, and that's actually going to really upset Shea in putting him into the hands of Brian and Alex. But BR Wyan, as I'm going to start calling him, needs to just get down. He needs to get on the back of these Thomas Ginit lights, because I don't know how the strategy is going to play out from now on. I know you were looking a bit with the practice lobbies and stuff like that. Did you see anything about kind of potential tyre strategies, or are these tyres wearing out quicker than maybe people thought?
I saw beforehand, we had an official practice session, and I saw Thomas Hunter. He was running the hards, and he was actually quite concerned about the tyre deg that was happening on his car, as we'll see Felix with a time penalty. So I think tyre deg is higher than people were expecting. So quite interesting that people put on the softs, where they just want to take advantage of that extra pace that you get. I mean, it's worked for Brian, right? Like, he had that spin, and now he's currently up into 5th. Like, if you can carry the momentum from the strategy, maybe even get some clean air, as we've seen so much battling going on through the sprint and so far in this feature race. Maybe that clear air, you're going to leapfrog a few cars in the pits.
Yeah, I do think you might be right there, and he's already gaining quite a bit of time. But what he is doing is dragging the likes of Shea and Brian up through with him, as we see a big move trying to dive around the inside. Doesn't quite make that work, and now Brian, I'm sure, will just kind of get away there. I did see another yellow flag, didn't spot who that was for. I do believe Ginit, from the looks of it, though, as we're just looking at this lovely little battle between Venus and Pino. I don't think there's any really opportunity for him to get it done through there. But I do think Ginit might be getting a little bit closer to Tadpole, but the only problem is that Hegel also getting a little bit closer to Ginit, so might see something develop here fairly soon. I wouldn't be surprised to see a big strategy call from one of these guys to try and to get some advantage and jump out, because they all seem to be pretty matched on pace. Oh no, it's happened! Logan dropping down the order once again, out on his own, and he's managed to lose it somehow. I don't know if there's any damage, but oh, it's just such a shame. He's once again another lead thrown away, unforced mistake.
What corner was that dropped on?
Not a clue. Unfortunately, we don't have the track map up just yet. Couldn't quite gather that. But now, looks like a dangerous lunge up the inside. There's a lot of cars trying to get through this section. Surely it can't all be done cleanly. Looks like Logan's going to be forced out to the outside there.
That's Alex, by the way.
Wow, oh, Alex. That makes more sense. I was like, how's Logan found himself in here? But Alex going to be coming through now. Four cars heading up through this section. Good, clean driving from everyone for the moment, but I'd be really worried about these track limits with the strict that we have. They don't care if you've been forced off wide. They're going to give you those warnings, give you those penalties, regardless of how good the racing was. So do be careful, guys, as we come through here. Brian is kind of the odd one out here on the softs. He needs to be kind of getting out of here.
It looks like they're dying as well, right? Like, he had the pace, and now he's been re-overtaken by Shea.
Yeah, it's actually true. Yeah, that is not a good sign if you are Brian or Harrison or Porter. And now it appears that Brian already losing pace, as you say, because that's only, there's 5 laps on those, and they seem to be toast. Yeah, not what you want to see. So Brian also getting a penalty now. Plenty of penalties up and down the grid. So don't consider these finishing positions to be as they stand, because you never know how far people can jump up and down.
And the problem with these exceeding track limits is they're not the corner cutting. It's not like the corners are really enticing to kind of go faster through. It's just it's going wide, and as your tire drag grows up, you basically end up going wider and wider as you try and carry the same speed that you went through on the lap before that, and you just can't do it anymore. You need to adapt with the tyre wear that's going on in your car. So cars just find themselves going wide, taking these track limits and getting penalties for it. It's
true. It feels like they're like trying to cheat or anything like that, but it is just finding a limit on these cars. You see that Alex found the limit of the outside of Brian there, but just didn't have the grip compared to Brian's worn softs. Absolutely no time between the midfield here. Very, very close pack. You see Thomas now, another one of the leaders, getting a penalty, which is not what you want to see. Ginette in a great position there, just sitting without that. Is Brian losing another place? Oh, back with Alex. Brian, I think Brian had an incident.
No, he's pitted.
He's pitting. Apologies. So 6 laps. I wonder how useful that was. Is he going to be onto the hards now?
On the hards, yep. Yeah. I wonder if he's going to the end of the race.
Well, 6 laps on the softs. I mean, maybe that works. It won't be a very fast.
As we see Ginette right on the back of Tadpole with Thomas right. We've got two McLarens right on the back of a Red Bull. As Ginette's past him before he even gets to the corner. I wonder if we'll see a big dive from Tadpole. We won't recover the position, but he is going to have the DRS come the next lap. Should he straighten up his car? Oh, we have a retirement from quarterback.
Oh, such a shame. I wonder if that's going to be a crash.
That might be a safety car.
This is not the time you want a safety car if you're anyone at the top, really, apart from potentially Ginette. But Tadpole not managing to kind of put any kind of counter-attack on there. And now Thomas is going to really want to get through here as quick as he can. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get it done in this section. Going to have to wait for the next couple. But yeah, Ginette, only one without a penalty. Managed to make it up, get that space. Seemed to come from nowhere. They were all about 6 tenths, 8 tenths behind each other. And suddenly, Ginette's now through and nearly breaking the second gap. Just wondering as well if Harrison is going to have to come in and change out these softs fairly soon, because obviously, well, he gets another penalty. He's managed to do a long time, and he is going to come into the pits now. I was wondering that. I think surely if they're dead after 5, they must be absolutely deceased after 7. And Brian actually sticking to the back of Alex, maybe a bit more than I would have been expecting, but Alex unfortunately also has that toe from Shea, and actually Alex going to try and make a move around the inside, and we've seen this a few times tonight. Going to stick that down the inside, but then that inside becomes the outside, and it does look like he has managed to make it work for now, but this is where that kind of straight line speed is going to come into play. Is Brian going to be able to make anything of this? As actually we come back to the top, Tadpole looking like he's going to dive down the inside of Jinnit, not going to have enough there, but again Hegel, it's just a repeat of the sprint race here where he just can't seem to get through. Unfortunately, Jinnit gonna keep that lead for now. Not unfortunately for Jinnit, of course, but I'm just so frustrated watching Hegel in this position again and again, where he's got so much pace, but he just can't quite get through. So we go back onto the main straight here. You see some Tadpole warming his tyres up a little bit there, trying to keep on the back of Jinnit. As we see another yellow flag in sector 3, it looks like Josh Wilmot dropping back a few places. I wonder if he's had an incident, but nothing happening. Oh yeah, he's back on track. That's all good to see. But Tadpole and Jinnit coming through again. Tadpole looking like he's going to be quite close to the back of him now. Might be able to make a move here. I'd love to see something risky from Tadpole. I haven't seen anything too risky. As he sees, he is going to send one down the inside, I think, but Jinnit much later on the brakes there. I wonder if Tadpole's going to be able to get some sort of cutback, and he doesn't manage to do so. That's surely going to hamper his exit, and we've got to see Hegel. He's got to get through. Come on, he's got to make some sort of move here, but he just seems to be sitting pretty. But maybe that's his strategy for this qualifier, as we said. Just hold back and show that he can be a consistent, clean driver, which he is managing to do so far. No mistakes from Hegel.
Yes, and just whilst we have this little bit of quiet, we do have our own correspondent who is currently on the pit wall, currently on the pits, going around the teams, rounding up some information. He is our Ted Kravitz. He is our Steve Chapman. How are you this evening, Steve?
Hello, yeah, I am good, thank you very much. So yeah, I've just been going up and down trying to find out sort of what's happening here through the race then. So we've had a few people that have been, doing a little bit of spinning. There's been a few people that have, DNF'd through the last race and then obviously in this one as well. But it looks like in the case of quarterback for this race at least, it looked like it was a stop retirement. It looked like the car was in the pits. It wasn't actually an accident on the first or on the main straight there. But speaking of the main straight, it looks like a lot of our challenges are people coming out of that last corner. Probably one to look out for, especially in close battles or as it comes down to the end of the race. Lots of people trying to get their foot down just a little bit too early, a little bit too keen to try and make a move down there. And it's causing them to slip up a little bit. And just as we see a bit of contact there, going down on the inside.
Someone's gone fully on. I think it was that Jinnit. He's just massively lost out there in straight line. I didn't catch the contact myself, but that is such a shame. Hopefully it was nothing too bad. As we see finally Hegel able to make a move on that, seeing that mistake. He's going to try and hang it around the outside. He looks like he's absolutely nailed that, just given enough space from Tadpole. And now the inside is going to be very tight, but he does have the line. He is going to hang him out to dry on the outside. And Hegel with a fantastic move there, making it around. And now surely, unfortunately, not really teammates, but sure, was that a move from Tadpole? Up the inside. Oh, for a second there, I thought Tadpole had found some unbelievable pace and come through there, but not quite. But great stuff from Hegel there, absolutely on the limit, and does manage to hold it around the outside. Jinnit already right on. Just but no, Tadpole! He's out of the race! Tadpole has absolutely binned it, and he's going to retire. That might be a safety car. I believe it is. Oh, Tadpole, that's such a shame. I mean, it happens when you're under this kind of pressure, but I mean, fantastic performance from him from there. Got halfway through this race, but I did say I don't think that these guys are going to be able to withstand that level of pressure for this long. And there is our first victim. Tragic for Tadpole. Great stuff for Thomas. And now it's game on, Hegel and Jinnit.
We have an absolute stampede of cars in the pits at the moment. Hopefully they don't all trip over each other. I wonder what tyres are going to put on. I believe it will more than likely be the hard, so they can all make the end of the race. But this is the best time to pit. You've almost got a free pit stop.
Absolutely. I do wonder what kind of strategies we're going to see. Oh, I guess everyone opting to just jump onto the hards. Not gonna. Who was our guys that jumped onto the soft? Harrison. How is he? Oh, Harrison came onto the hards 3 laps ago, so I guess not the best in the world for him. But no, it doesn't look like there's any huge winners or losers from here. Obviously, Alex up into P3, but on those mediums hasn't pit actually. But looking at our top 5, none of them have pit. Jake Smalls has managed to find his way up into P5. We love to see it. But the Logan, actually one of the first runners who managed to get a pit there in P7, and everyone in front of him has to stop. So, apart from potentially Brian, so potentially could be some big things for Logan here.
Yes, and also, importantly to say, speculation leads me to believe that Thomas Hunter and Ginett are going to be teammates next season, and that bodes very well with them both being in the McLaren 1-2 currently. So yeah, very, very powerful combination there if that was to go through to the rest of the season. I don't know what it says for you guys, but I've currently got... Oh, so Thomas Hunter, they've all just now come into the pits, and they are now all on the hards as well.
Apologies, having a few technical issues here. Yeah, I think... So how's this going to work? Is Logan going to be able to jump up?
So they both pit, both McLaren, so they would have double stacked. Ginett has lost a place to Brian.
Or
has he? No, he made it out just in front. That must have been touch and go for a little bit coming out the pit exit there.
Yeah, I think... I'd love to hear how you think Hegel's going to handle this restart with Alex behind him. You must have had a fair few safety car restarts with Alex. What's that like?
Many. The hardest thing really is, one, keeping temperature in your tyres, and two, just not like getting out of the zone. Like, so much of this is like focus, and you get very into the flow of the racetrack when you're racing, when you're battling, when you're in the thick of it. And a safety car can quite often just trigger your mind to wander a little bit, think about other things, strategy, when you're not thinking about the race. So making sure your mind is kept on the racing, the task at hand. But the worst thing of all to do is to drop it when you're putting down that throttle pedal. When you're putting down the loud pedal, you do not want to spin coming out of that final corner, and you want to gain the biggest advantage possible. It's almost like starting the race. You want to get the most purchase as possible.
I think Chappers has some information on the double stack and exactly what happened there. I'd love to hear a little bit of info if you can.
Absolutely, yeah, I am here. So, just whilst we were going through that period, obviously we mentioned there that the McLaren's double stacking, they don't look like they actually lost out from that too much. They were really well paced. It was very clean from both pit stops. There was no hold time or any waiting. It looked like the mechanics managed to prepare the tyres for the second car just in time. But also out of that, it does look like we've had a few people that are now trying some maybe some slightly different strategies here. So we've got Moon that's down on the medium tyre in 13th, looking to probably get rid of this stuff. Don't know if that will make the rest of the race, but other than that, we've got most people here moving onto the hard tyre. So it's looking to be relatively interesting up and down the grid now.
Interestingly as well, we were tipped that the strategy would be that about lap 13 to 16 would be the usual time a car would pit onto hards. So everyone's coming a little bit early, but that won't matter under the safety car. Everyone will still almost start the period after the safety car with brand new hard tyres to go to the end of the race. So like you say, I think Moon is the only car really that's out of sync with the rest of the grid.
Yeah, he's got to be hoping for another safety car, you'd expect here. Which, we've had a couple of incidents. We've had the virtual safety car earlier on, so there's always the opportunity there. Especially as you back the pack up, they all start racing again. Obviously, every time you sort of consolidate the cars together, then the risk of them sort of coming together increases. It's when they're all maybe a second or two apart, it starts to clean itself up. So yeah, but it looks like at this stage there's a lot of drivers, so they've all been burning the candle at both ends in terms of their DRS as well. So this is going to be a good chance for them to restart just before we had the top three fighting, just before the incident happened. They were all quite low on the ERS. They were all burning it very aggressively. So this will be an interesting reset.
That was a well-needed safety car then for a lot of the drivers, by the sounds of it, with the battery. As it's coming to an end, we've got the safety car coming in this lap. The lights are off, which means we'll see Thomas Hunter backing up the grid for a clean restart. Now, we have had a few protocols on board. We've had a few incidents in the seasons before where drivers have ran into each other. We want to keep drivers single file for a safety car restart. We don't want any crashing into each other. We want it to be clean.
Yeah, I think that's been a much needed thing, but I do think we're still going to see a few incidents there. As actually Hegel kind of looked like he went there for a second. Oh, and he has gone! He's lost it under the safety car, Logan style, and he's absolutely binned it, going back into P5. Logan taking position of that, and now Legion is actually going to be the one in the lead here. Alex getting a free win off the safety car restart. That is going to be absolutely heartbreaking for Hegel. But that is just how it goes. Sometimes with these new cars, with the soft tyres, that is the cold tyres. That is just gonna catch you out, I guess. But as we see now, Alex suddenly sitting in a lovely free win at the moment.
What did I say when that safety car period was on? What do you not want to do? You do not want to drop it on the restart. And what did we see? We saw Thomas drop it under the restart. I mean, I feel for the guy. He's just gone from a lead to 7th place. That is a lot to make up in the last 15 laps, but...
That is a lot to make up in 15 laps. But I tell you who I will just mention quickly here is Logan. Fastest lap of the race, 27.3. And he's in a really good spot here. He's got absolutely no penalties, which is great. The guys in front of him obviously are quick, but they might be battling away. I think he can get the first two. Obviously, we know he has pace here. And there's another Ferrari going round. Reset to track there being used. Is going to put him down to the order. So that's one more spot for Logan. I think this is now getting into the ending stage of this race, really showing the nerves starting to come out, the mistakes coming out. I wonder if this is still the tyres still not quite up to temperature as well.
They're still cold. It takes at least a couple of laps for them to get to the full, especially the hards. All the tyres in this game take a few laps to get up to temperature, but the hardest take the longest.
So unfortunately, I didn't see anyone jumping onto the mediums or anything like that. Obviously, everyone on the mediums is the hard. That feels like that could have been a blinder if he did so. I think Moon might have done that, so we'll maybe see if he can make his way up. But Logan now under half a second up to the back of Shea. Wonder if he can make something happen here as we've got another Sector 1 yellow flag. I think that's Harrison having a moment right down the back of the grid. But we're going to stay on board with Logan now, 3/10. Can he make this work? Got no DRS just yet, no real advantage, just the slipstream, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get it done here unless he goes for a very, very bold move, which he decides against. And can he keep it nice and tidy through this little S section, get a better straight line run? It's good, a lot of curb being used. He might have actually got it done there, as we're going to see now following them down onto this next straight. Got the speed, he's using his ERS nicely, he's going to try and send it around the outside. It's going to be a big move, trying to get the cutback done. It's not quite going to work. And great defending there from Shea is going to hold the place for now. But Logan, he smells blood. He wants to get up into that podium position, and that would be a cracking recovery drive if he does so.
And talking of a cracking drives, we've currently got Jake Smalls in 5th place. I mean, I think much like his Bahrain race, he's carrying 3 weeks worth of penalties, but he's having a great race in P5 at the moment.
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, he's sitting on about 8 seconds of penalties at the moment, which is obviously quite a lot. The currently penalty leader, or it should be the G Sports Award, I guess, for the one with the most penalties, is the driver in front of Logan Shea, who has 11 seconds of penalties on him. So that's dangerously close to disqualification. But I do think Logan has a little bit more pace on him, as we actually see Hegel gets through on Jake there, and it's going to come up into
I also just want to jump it. Sorry to interrupt. I just want to jump on board with the leaders now. DRS has been enabled. We see Jinnit right on the back of Alex. Is he going to make a move into the lead?
I think he's got about half a second gap for the moment, so should be okay. Oh, as we see Hegel, I think that who has some sort of incident there. He's right now on the back of Logan. Not sure what has happened there, but Hegel's had a fantastic few corners. Suddenly up right onto the back of Logan. What? I've no idea what happened there. I'd love Steve get investigating, find out what happened, because I feel like something untoward has happened.
I feel like the incidents we've seen from both Thomas Hunter and Logan, I don't know how they're in 4th and 5th right now, because I'm sure they're almost like race-ending incidents.
Absolutely. Hegel in 5th actually is unbelievable. The span at the safety car restart for this safety car is Logan going for a very optimistic move around the inside. He's going to go all out of shape there. And unfortunately for Hegel, there was no room to squeeze through. But Logan clearly desperate to get through onto this podium position. I think it's because he knows that he could probably get on the back of leading Jinnit. And what is in front of him is essentially a big Alfa Romeo painted penalty that has no real need to be there. But we'll see if he can get it done on this main straight.
It must be weird as well for Logan. He's been racing in an Alfa Romeo for so much, and now he's looking at the back of one.
Yeah, I think that Alfa Romeo not looking as quick as when Logan's in the cockpit though, and he's going to come through. Hegel needs to be careful. He's got a lot of speed coming through as well. Oh, how are they going to all make it through here? Surely not. Logan is going to have the best line through the next section and is going to hold that inside line. But Shea getting a great drive through is going to hold it for now. Where's Hegel in this? He's just sitting back as he has been doing all race. But Logan with the DRS, with the better exit, is going to come through. Takes the wider line. He knows that he can hold the speed round there and he's going to get it done. Hegel now sniffing blood. Actually finds a bit of space on the inside. Oh, a little bit of contact there. I think it's all good for the moment. But now he's going to try and have to do it around the outside of these two corners. Lots of speed carried through. Who's going to be latest on the brakes? Hegel still in a great position here, can get the inside line done. What a move from Hegel to get through in what is a section that you do not usually see a lot of overtaking done, and that is Logan and Hegel through, showing the new guys how it's done. Fantastic racing from everyone involved.
Absolutely incredible driving. I have no idea how nuts. I mean, we did see a little bit of contact, but it was unbelievable. They were like centimetres apart from each other going through that sector 3.
Hegel has been training all night, watching other drivers make moves. He's calculating it. He's taking all the information in. He's finding these little spots, and that was absolutely perfect positioning of the car from him. There was a little bit of contact. I don't think it was too much to worry about. It was just a little bit of wheel banging. Luckily, nothing too bad happening from it. But Logan stretching that lead, he manages to do so quickly. I don't know how he does that, and almost safe from Hegel for the moment. Actually, looking up at the lead, it does look like Ginett is a 10th behind Alex now with DRS. This could be a move for the lead coming up. Alex taking a very, very tight line. I don't know if that's really where you want to be. The outside line is quite good round here. Ginett, very late on the brakes, just needs to give himself enough room to stay on there, but it looks like he's losing a lot of grip. Alex just cutting across, still finding a bit of room. Oh, what a dive from Ginett. Surely he can't make this work. A bit of barging there. No room to be had, but they have made it through. A lot of contact. Alex still now taking the inside, and this is going to be playing right into Logan's hand, who's going to be eating up the seconds as these guys are fighting away. And there's only lap 18 of this 29-lap race, and I don't think anyone could predict who's going to be winning from this point.
Almost the carbon copy of what we saw the previous lap with Hegel going. Hegel, I can't tell you his right name. Hegel Fire plays. It was almost a carbon copy, except we didn't see the execution. He didn't get past. Alex, literally in his prime there with his defensive skill, saying, nope, you're not coming past me.
I do think it was getting a little bit aggressive between those two, a little bit more than we saw from the other two, so I'd be curious to see how that goes. Alex, I believe, is quite a calm driver from what I understand.
Although I do know no love lost between these two. They have had, despite Alex being a very calm driver, I believe they've had a few runnings in previous seasons before.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if the next time we see that, we see a little bit more aggression, but Ginett actually not going to get the drive out of that corner that he needs to challenge here, giving Alex a little bit of much needed space, and actually gives us a little bit of much needed space to just have a breather. It's been so mad over the past few laps.
Steve, if you're with us, have you got any news to tell us?
I do indeed. So, just as Thomas was making his way through the grid, I went down and had a little chat, just in a quiet moment there with the driver himself. Just got a little bit of an update on that safety car restart and what happened. The quote we got was, he didn't realise having his foot 100% down on the pedal was going to cause him to have a bit of a spin. So that's the line we've got.
It's good to know that we can still learn things like 100% pedal on a safety car restart, not such a good thing. So there you go, 3 tips there, BBB tips. We can make a little column.
100%. But also he is, I did mention, obviously, you mentioned that he's getting through the grid pretty quickly. He's obviously now quite close to the top, but he did say he's found his rhythm. He's absolutely fine. It was just a one-off. He's not struggling at all, so he's on his charge now.
I think we are, just quickly, I think we're in for a very spicy 9 laps. Logan has managed to get into DRS range of Ginett, who is in DRS range of Legion, and at the back of that pack, Hegel is in DRS range. This could be pretty intense from this point on. There's a lot of drivers here who have made a lot of memorable moves, not for their skill in the past. So stick with this one. I think this could be quite an interesting fight. Liam, who you think's got this out of this top 4?
Out of this top 4, I mean, who I've raced with the longest? Well, I've raced with 2 of them the longest. Out of those 2, it's got to be Alex. I just think when push comes to shove, he's easily the yeah. There's a reason he's a world champion.
Just while that was happening, by the way, Moon had a bit of a spin, lost his front wing, so he's going to be popping into the pits for now, pulling right off the ring. So that's a shame for him. But yeah, back at the front. I mean, it's biding the time now. It's just waiting, keeping patient, keeping calm, and just waiting for that opportunity to come. It does look like Ginit probably in the best opportunity at the moment to get some sort of move done. But we know that if they go into that tricky left-right section and they start fighting, not giving each other enough space, Logan is going to be right on the back of them. And when Logan arrives right on the back of you, it tends to come very quickly from very far away and end with a bit of a thud. As we do see Ginit making a bit of a dive there, that was never really going to be on, and it's actually going to mean that Alex is going to get a much better run coming down onto this main straight. Logan eating up that time, and Hegel just catching the back of Logan. Nothing too much happening here. Ginit could go for a dive here. He's got a lot of speed, but decides against it. And now Alex, who's going to get the best run out of here? It looks pretty solid from Alex. It's pretty solid from Ginit. It looks pretty even pegging, which means that Ginit should have the advantage here with the RS coming into this section again. Actually going to catch him a lot sooner than we've seen beforehand as we see him sweep round the outside. Alex going to hold it in for the moment. Does get some good pace, but that is a strong move from Ginit. Alex being respectful, giving him the space, and I think not really a lot Alex could do with that one. Ginit just came from too far back.
You're right with that one. He was past him almost before even they both reached the corner, and carrying that momentum through that hairpin, there was no way the inside line was going to win that move.
So now I wonder if that's a sign of weakness from Alex. Maybe that's rattled him because he does have Logan right on his back, but I think Hegel's a little closer to Logan than Logan is to Alex. So that'll be the one to watch, and I guess just see how far Ginit can push this lead that he's got now and get away from this pack, but I don't think that's going to be very easy.
Interestingly, I had a tyre graphic that came on the screen, and it actually showed that Logan's tyres were in a much better condition than Ginit's when they were the closest 2 drivers at the time. So I don't know how true that is. It was only the rear tyres, and it was a marginal of difference, but I wonder if that will come into play later on in the race.
Yeah, could do. They've all got about the same laps. So it would just be a driving style thing, but Logan obviously, did he lead more than on these tyres? No, that would be Alex, right? That Alex would be the one who'd have theoretically the cleanest tyres here. But interesting to see. I don't know if Logan's particularly kind on his tyres or not. But,
do we know how much batteries in store for any of these drivers?
We've got our man. It might have to be me actually now on the ground. So Ginit, we're looking pretty healthy. Looks about 40% from what I can see here. Alex down on about 6 or 7% battery. Logan down on about 6 or 7% battery. Hegel more like about 15. These are very rough numbers, but Ginit, the leader, with much more battery available.
As we've seen Thomas Hunter spin in the hotel section.
It's not what you want to see, and again, this is the thing that Hegel needs to get a hold of, or Thomas. He needs to just get that reliability down a bit better, because we do see a lot of spins from him, whereas he usually would get a lot more positions than he actually ends up getting. But that puts it down to a 3-horse race at the front. But
a 3-horse race where they're within 2 seconds of each other. Well, who's your money on? You asked me earlier, a couple of laps later, who's your money on now?
I'm calling it, man. It's my boy Logan. You can't. This race is chaotic. This race is insane. This race has had unpredictable things going on that no one can see. Logan's going to sneak through. Alex is going to have some sort of thing with Ginit. It's going to be a safety car or something. I believe in my boy Logan. This is where he shines. If he's out leading by like 30 seconds and no one's anywhere near him, he's going to crash and ruin his own race. But if he's having to fight 2 of the strongest members of the league to get this win, then I think that is where he probably can come through. So I'm going to put my money on him. Who actually is going to win will probably be Ginit, but let's put the money on Logan and see how it goes.
Just quickly to interrupt, we've got someone in the chat asking about penalties and what penalties drivers have. Can you run through that?
So obviously Ginit's all clean, as is Alex, so great for those guys. Logan's sitting on a 3-second penalty, same as Hegel. and then we've got Shea with 11 seconds of penalties, Sinstein with 9 seconds, Dead Smalls with 11, Harrison with 5, and then George with 3, and then everyone below that either a 9 or a 5-second penalty.
Jinnit's just picked up a 3 seconds as well, which means the only driver clear in the top 3 is Alex. And do you think Jinnit or Logan, if they broke through from the lead, would be able to make 3 seconds in the last 5 laps?
I think it's going to be tough. Alex, now, really, he is a smart guy. He needs to use that big brain because he should not really be fighting now. He's been given this win from penalties. He's very, very clean when it comes to penalties. So he should be able to just relax. But if he does relax, he might get into the jaws of Logan Watt. And sometimes there's nothing you can do when that happens other than just take avoiding action. So we'll see.
Jinnit had a little moment as well through that chicane. Alex has had the best run he's had on him in a very long time.
I think it would be ambitious from here, but it's good to just start seeing those weaknesses come out. Taking a much cleaner line there through that corner does Legions. As I think we see another incident. Harrison is going to lose his front wing and drop down. It's not been a great showing for him this weekend, unfortunately, but I think he's proved his point in previous races. We know Harrison's a pretty solid driver. So actually, if a little bit of battling going on between the boys in blue in P7 and P8, which is always a little bit spicy to see. We love seeing these guys fighting their way through, but I think be very ambitious for them to do anything at this point. But I just wanted to give a little shout out to Venus and Smalls.
They need the shout out, and also another shout out is the best performance we've seen from Jake. He got his first podium this weekend.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I think these guys, it seems like they're just the same person driving around. They've got so similar on pace. It's a bit ridiculous. Is he going to make some sort of lunge? At the moment, no, not looking like it. I think we'll jump back to the leaders though, because I think Legion. Oh, moment from Jinnit. I just managed to capture. Jinnit has a big moment there, and actually doesn't end up helping Alex get through because Alex had to push back. But what it has helped is Logan to get a run, which now means he's going to try a move around the outside of Alex. I think Alex will probably back off on this one, and he does so. You don't want to try and fight Logan coming around the outside, but now Alex is in the kind of the worst position you can be in, which is still a pretty good one with the 2 guys in front of him on those 3-second penalties. He can just kind of relax as long as they don't get too far ahead. The win is his, but great opportunity there from Logan to sneak through, and now let's see if he can do what Alex couldn't and catch Jinnit.
What happened to Jinnit? Where did he lose it in that chicane?
So he came just as he was coming out of the last bit onto the main straight, just before. So he's turning right onto the main straight, just gave it a little bit too much gas. The car spanned slightly. Alex looked for a move around the outside, but had to then back out of it. But Logan was just that little bit further behind, so he could actually just take that chicane as usual and came up with a lot more pace on Alex. So great patience from Logan there to get that one done. And actually that move, that little mistake from Jinnit, costing him nothing, but costing Alex a place.
It also means he's right on the back of Jinnit going into this straight this time.
Yeah, I think Alex looks like he's moving back a little bit. He needs to be a little bit careful. If he loses Logan's CRS, these guys could slip away from him. But for the moment, looking all clean. I wonder if he's going to be a little bit more careful through this corner now. Yeah, maybe the tyre's just getting a little bit more degged. Logan actually making another little attempt here. He's getting a little bit closer. And notice Jinnit takes a much wider line than everyone through here. Tends to Alex and Logan cutting that corner a lot tighter. Obviously working for Jinnit, keeping the lead of the race, but I'm not too sure. How would you take that one?
I don't know.
Fair enough. Neither do I. So we'll just carry on then.
I don't know.
No, fair enough. I mean, apparently no one does because everyone's taking it a little bit
a different way. Jinnit's not spun there yet, so maybe the way Jinnit would take it.
Yeah, I think Jinnit, the one who is leading, and the one who hasn't spun, probably that's the way you want to take that corner. If you are following and taking notes, which I wouldn't recommend at all. Steve, if you're hanging around there, you've got a few laps remaining. Who's your money on? We've got ours.
Hello. Yeah, I'm still here. Well, I think the easy money is on Alex, right? If you like, that's surely you're not getting much money for them odds, you know. Get £1.
We've got to
return there, but
pretend we get rid of these these nasty
track.
penalties. Yeah. Fair enough.
Man's unstoppable. So yeah, no, absolutely. And just while I'm here as well, a quick Alpine update. Since we have been enjoying them sort of running formation, Venus is actually running a sort of a standard setup. He's not tweaked his setup for this race at all. A mistake he made in qualifying just got out in Parc Ferme a little too early for setting the car up. So he's actually running on a fairly stock setup that's costing him quite a lot of time. Also, it seems like Jake was actually doing quite well, but had a little bit of a run-in with one of the Alfa Romeos, so that's why he dropped back a little bit there when he was up in 5th. But yeah, but other than that, they're having a good race there, just getting their laps down and enjoying, I think, just sharing the track.
Talking about Alfa Romeos, they're running very strong at the moment in 5th and 6th. They are 2 new guys who have applied, and they're doing a great job. I think we saw Shea racing earlier, and amazing racecraft around the 3rd sector.
Shea, his racecraft may be good, but I believe if he gets one more penalty, he's disqualified. So he might want to chill out a little bit. He's on 14 seconds of penalties right now, which is that's the moment when I used to race, when I'd be like, oh, I better be a bit careful now. I better just calm down a little bit once I've got the 14-second mark. But
how did you view your racing back in the day? How would you have described your racing back in the day?
What I would describe my racing back, I was quick, I was inconsistent, and I had faulty hardware. That's how I would race. That's how I would describe my I think if I did some of the things if people had seen some of the things I was doing, I would have been removed from the league, because I would just drive, once it was over, I just cut the corner like nothing just to try and get back to the group. But anyway, you can't give me a penalty now. I'm in the commentary box, and we are with 2 laps to go.
Promoting the league well, Will. Thank you.
Well, that's what I said. I said you wouldn't get away with that today, because it's a cleaner league. Look at this racing that we're seeing here between Brian and Venus. You know,
and Josh.
And Josh. So I have him as George Russell. Yeah, so no, it's a much better league than it was when I was in it, for just coincidentally, I guess. Anyway, coming on to the last lap now. I think we should really stick with Logan here, see if there's anything he could do. Obviously, it does look like Alex has managed to win this, unless obviously he makes any sort of mistakes. But the on-track battle, obviously, it has that little bit of spice to it. Okay, Alex won because he drove the track properly and didn't cheat, but Ginnett's in the lead for the moment, but Logan looks like he's got an absolutely stellar run out of here. Is he going to go for the move here or wait for that main straight? I think he's going to go for he actually takes a last minute dive down. There's contact. That was such a late move from Logan, but I think he had the space to do it. Ginnett does actually give him a little bit of space there, and now they're going to be running side by side right through to the final corner. Legion may still be able to win this on track if he can, but Logan gets a solid move through there and actually is going to move ahead of Ginnett, who now just has to sit back. I wonder if Alex is going to try and do anything from here. No, he's just going to sit back, watch these 2 guys fighting for the places beneath him. But what a move from Logan there. A little bit risky going into that first chicane, a little bit of contact, but it looks like everyone... Well, I don't know, maybe Ginnett wouldn't be so happy about that, but it looked good fun. Ginnett, they're going a little bit wide, and as we're coming around the last few corners here, it does look like Alex is going to be able to take the win in the feature race, followed by his Aston Martin team. Oh no! There's some different penalties there, because Ginnett does manage to take it by 0.055 seconds in the end. So that is going to be an Alex first place, and Hegel somehow comes through as well and gets 3rd. These penalties I don't think were fully accurate.
And how many did Logan get? Because he's going down to 6th, 7th, 8th.
What's happening? This can't be right.
This can't be right.
No way this is right. Logan doesn't have any penalties on my screen, and he's jumping down the order anyway. I think it was Alex and then Logan and then Ginnett. I think that's our podium. And then Hegel behind that. Absolutely solid drive from Venus, getting into P4 there, with Sinstein behind him, George Russell in P6, well, P7. These results may be variable. We'll come back to with the official race results. And then Brian Harrison, not the race he wanted, not the kind of weekend he wanted. Really, a lot of issues there. Should have really got more from that. But as it stands, there is your race winner. Well, not Jake Smalls. No, Alex winning the race with some hard fought battles. Penalties being the MVP of the day, but driver of the day went to Pangoy. So good for him as well. What a race. What an absolute smasher of a race. That had absolutely everything in it. So many spins. I think we knew that was going to be the case. But some absolutely quality driving there. Everyone showing some real skill and respect for each other.
I don't even know where to start. We thought we had it all in the sprint qualifying, but then we got 10 times the amount of excitement in the feature race, even from Harrison spinning on the get-go, which seems like a lifetime ago, really, when looking back at the race. But here we go. We see Alex again. He won the second qualifying. He's now won the third. Is that good form going into the season start?
Yeah, I mean,
can we see more of that?
I think he, as we say, he was the one that we were kind of. I was expecting to come through really strong in this season 3. So it is good to see him win those 2 events, like really solidify himself in that. And I think you could see from there he just has he has kind of the full package. He was very aggressive when he needed to be, but very patient at the same time. Whereas I think we got a lot of very quick drivers in the league who just need to take a step back, just to think a little bit more there. But what does it say about what? Does it say if he has any penalties? I'm very curious.
Logan has gone to the bottom of the grid for me.
That's quite interesting. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. Unless he accused
plus 1 lap. I don't know.
I don't know. But Logan came last. Anyway, yeah, what a fantastic race. I think.
What a race.
Definitely the stars. Hagel, Logan, Jinnit, Alex would absolutely.
Don't forget the great results that we had from Quarterback and Tadpole as well. They didn't make the end of the race, but they were incredible drivers throughout as well. Yeah,
that is so true. I think Tadpole, this is one of those things. I mean, I'm curious to see your kind of opinion on this, because for me, Tadpole had just such a good opening lap, great in the sprint race, and then was fighting with these guys who we know are some of the best guys. And then obviously he has that moment, crashes out, ends at the back, but for me, I think in these qualifiers at least, he still showed what he needed to show. It's unfortunate that he didn't finish, but that's what we want to see. We want to see people giving it all and being clean and consistent, and I think we saw that from loads of drivers on the grid today. Yeah,
he's got the racecraft, he's got the speed, he's got like the attendance, he turns up, he's got the full package, really. You just need to then iron out those kinks, right? What you're talking about really is not about getting in the league. You're talking about winning world championships.
Exactly.
Iron out those mistakes to not, like we saw with Thomas Hunter, right? It could have been one spin that could have been a DNF for him. Luckily, he recovered it, but we could have seen much worse from him tonight as well. So I'm sure we're going to see in the next 2 weeks a lot of online practice sessions where hopefully, fingers crossed, they're not going to be racing. I mean, hopefully they are, but they're going to be ironing out those spins. We don't want any spins, we want the pace, and we want some great racing like we had tonight.
There's always going to be spins. You'll never get rid of the spins. But yeah, I think that was a fantastic final qualifier. We're going to go away. We're going to stroke our long ginger beards and think about what all of this means.
I can't really stroke my long ginger beard, I'm afraid.
But see what that means for the drivers going forward. Hopefully it's been fun to watch for you guys. It's been a great race to cover with you, Liam. I think that was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
And yeah, so we're not back next week. The week after that, we're coming in strong with our season opener.
Round 1, Bahrain, 2 weeks, 7th of August. Do not miss it, 8 p.m.
And everything that we've been saying over the past few weekends in terms of, it doesn't matter because, this is about this and, it's about racecraft. All of that's out the window next week, on the 7th. It is all about points. The last season, as we said, came down to a single point. And that just shows how competitive this league is going to be. And it looks like we've got plenty more drivers jumping into the arena. So I just can't wait. I just want to get it started. So I've been Will, Liam. It's been a lot of fun. And we'll catch you guys in 2 weeks.
Catch you in 2 weeks. Thank you for tuning in.